Yo os explico el pretérito perfecto compuesto. Se dice también el pretérito o el perfecto o el compuesto, simplemente, pero el nombre completo es el pretérito perfecto compuesto. Se trata de, por ejemplo, formas como he cantado, I have sung, o I have eaten, he comido. Vale, primero, entonces, las formas. Unos ejemplos. Esta mañana he hablado con tu padre. This morning I have spoken to your dad. ¿Has trabajado mucho hoy? Did you work a lot today? Lola ha salido con sus amigos esta noche. Lola went out this evening with her friends. So you can see there are two forms. You have the auxiliary verb, el auxiliario, que siempre haber, ¿vale? Y el participio, okay? So first, here you can see the conjugation of haber. When you say, I went out, he salido con mis amigos. You would be, has salido. Mi padre, él ha salido. He went out. We went out. Hemos salido. Vosotros habéis salido. Ellos han salido. All right? Okay. Okay. Now I used salido, pero let's start with a verb on ar, like hablar. Okay. So to form el participio, you quit ar and you put ado. So I have spoken, he hablado. I have worked a lot, he trabajado mucho. Verbs on er, like comer, I have eaten. It's like he comido, has comido, you ate a lot, have eaten a lot. And er, verbos in er, like vivir, I have lived, he vivido. You quit er and you put ido, so it's the same form as er. Okay, these forms are invariable, so they never change. Always ado al final o ido. Let's have a look at some examples. Visitar, to visit, so it became visitado. I never have visited Paris. Nunca he visitado París. Have you ever visited this museum? ¿Ya has visitado este museo? Verbo venir, venido. So, why didn't Peter come? ¿Por qué no ha venido Pedro? Comer, comido. Have you eaten here yet? ¿Ya habéis comido aquí? So when you speak to some friends, it will be habéis comido. Some exceptions. Abrir, to open. Opened is abierto. ¿Quién ha abierto la puerta? There are only about 10 exceptions, so there are not a lot, but they are quite frequent, so you should know them well. ¿Quién ha abierto la puerta? Who opened the door? Decir, dicho. Dicho, said. For example, ¿ya lo has dicho a tu madre? Did you already said it to your mother? Escribir. Escrito. See, it's quite irregular as a form. Todavía no he escrito ese correo. I didn't write this or that mail yet. Hacer, hecho, to make, to do. Hemos hecho las compras en el Corte Inglés. We did some shopping en el Corte Inglés. Morir muerto. Han muerto muchas personas en el atentado. There died a lot of people in that attack. Poner, puesto. Where did you put my bag? romper, roto. Me he roto el brazo esta mañana. I have broken my arm this morning. Volver, vuelto, to return. So, for example, ¿han vuelto ya tus padres de vacaciones? Did your parents already come back from holiday? The last one, you should know, is ver visto. ¿Has visto mis gafas? Ya no las encuentro. Did you see my glasses? I don't find them anymore. Okay, so you see that are 10 irregular forms of the participio. Okay, be aware that some of these exceptions have also derivated forms. For example, we saw poner puesto, but there exists also proponer, to propose. So I have proposed is he propuesto. Ver visto, pero prever, previsto, to foresee or to anticipate. Satisfacer, it's like hacer, hacer hecho, y satisfacer, satisfecho, to satisfy. Devolver, we saw volver, volver is to give back, to come back, and devolver is give back. So, he devuelto, I gave back something. Okay, some special verbs that are not irregular, but they're a little special. For example, leído. All those verbs on ido and the stem ends on a vowel, like leer. So the e is between is at the end of two vowels. And the first one is a strong one, so you should put an accent on the e. Reído, oído. So don't forget the accent. Then ido. It looks a bit special because you have to quit er and then you put ido as the end of this tense, but in fact that's just the participate of the verb ir. He ido, I went. Por ejemplo, he ido al cine. I went to the movie. Ser sido, okay, it's regular. Por ejemplo, it has been interesting. Ha sido muy interesante. Ha sido. Tener que. Tener is to have, but tener que is to have, to. So if you want to say, for example, I have to work this afternoon, tengo que trabajar. But I had to work this morning, he tenido que trabajar. It's a regular form. Gustar, gustar, gustado. It's regular, but you have to pay attention. When you say I like the movie, you say me gusta la película. Me gusta in third person. You know, it doesn't exist gusto. It's always me gusta or me gustan. Me gustan, por ejemplo, las galletas o algo así. Entonces, también en el compuesto solamente se utiliza la tercera persona. Me ha gustado mucho la película o me han gustado las galletas. I did like the cakes. Me han gustado. O no me han gustado las gambas, por ejemplo. Okay, where do you put the pronombre, the pronoun? Okay, so you should put them before haber. Okay, so you say it can be pronombres reflexivos. In English, I don't think you use them a lot, well, because you say to wash. You don't say to wash yourself, but in Spanish, lavarse, it's reflexive. So we will see it later on. But you should say, did you wash? Did you wash yourself today? Te has lavado. So you see the te, you put it before haber. In Dutch, you put it in between. So you have to be careful. Speak Dutch. In Spanish, it's before. Okay. Also, me he levantado a las 6. I get up at 6 o'clock. Me he levantado. Okay. In Dutch, for example, it's not reflexive. But also other pronombres, you put them before e or before haber. Por ejemplo, todavía no lo he dicho. I didn't say it yet. I didn't told it yet. I didn't tell it yet. Excuse me. So todavía no lo he dicho. In Dutch you say ik heb het niet verteld. So you put the het, el pronombre, you put it before the participio. Okay, so I didn't tell it yet. Also in English it's like that. In Spanish you put it before haber also, always. So also in ya se lo has dado. Did you give it to her or to him yet? Okay. Don't forget that haber is the auxiliary verb. Okay, and it's always haber. In Dutch you have zijn en hebben. Ik ben begonnen, he empezado, of we zijn geweest, hemos estado, of ik heb gekregen, he recibido. But in Spanish it's always haber. And don't forget it's the auxiliary verb, because to have, okay, it can be haber or tener. When it's an auxiliary verb it's haber, and when it's the main verb it's tener. For example, I have 2 cars. You can't use haber, you should say tengo dos coches. Okay, to end, just a little word about the use. We will see it later on when we see other tenses in the past. But you can already remember that you use the compuesto for the main action in the past. It's always the main action. For example, hoy he visto a tu hermano cuando estaba esperando el autobús. I saw your brother when I was waiting on the bus. Or I have seen your brother. It's not easy always to translate the verbs because the use of the tenses, it's a bit different in Spanish as in other languages as Dutch or English. Okay, so it's main action. You use it for actions in the recent past, things that you did today or just, for example, this week. This week is the recent past because today is still part of this week. Okay, even you could say this year we went to Paris. Este año hemos ido a París. Este año it hasn't finished yet, so that period hasn't finished yet. So you will use this tense. Later on, we will see that when you say, for example, last week or last year or yesterday it's over. It has finished that period, or last month or something like that. You will use another tense in Spanish. Okay, it's el simple or el indefinido. But some examples of the recent past: hoy, recientemente, hace una hora, 1 hour ago. Or the period that is not finished yet. I already said esta mañana, esta semana, this week, este mes, este siglo. Okay. And then another use is when the exact time is not important, only the experience or the realization of the action. For example, when you ask, have you already been in Spain? Ya has estado en España. Okay, in that case, it doesn't matter when, just did you do it or not. So in the past, and then you will use also the compuesto. Okay, so that's all for about el compuesto.